Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at some potential moves that got found in the code, which also kind of hints towards what's coming up for the next season of Pokemon Go most likely. So definitely a lot of interesting stuff here. This actually already got found like a week ago, but I was on vacation so I was not able to cover it then. But let's take a look at potentials, at least what those moves going to be able to do here. First off, of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Only around 42% actually subscribe. Those videos always take a long time, so yeah. Let's move on. Now, what got found here are some new moves that got found in the newest version of the game, which is going to be Bleakwind Storm, Sandsear Storm, as well as Wildbolt Storm, as well as Spirit Shackle, which is going to be interesting. The first three moves are all basically moves that are from the Genie legendaries, I think it's called, like the Tornadus, the Thundurus, as well as the Landorus, while of course Spirit Shackle is from the Hisui. The Hisui is going to learn this move here, which is going to be interesting. Here you see also the main series game stats on the screen. Yeah, 100 power and 80 accuracy for all the storm moves, as well as for Spirit Shackle. It's basically flipped around, 80 power, 100 accuracy. So I kind of want to also, yeah, consider this kind of for the moves that we're going to see then later on, which are not in the code yet. Like, we don't know the stats yet, so that's going to be a little bit of a mystery. But I kind of want to make Spirit Shackle a little bit of a lower energy, but also lower damage move compared to Sandsear Storm, as well as, like, of course, the other storm moves as well. Kind of something to note here as well is that there is a fourth move in the storm category, which is going to be the Springtide Storm, which is completely for a new legendary, which is not in the code yet, which is basically the fourth Pokemon for this kind of trio there then, which got added in Pokemon Legends Arceus. Those moves in general, like these storm moves, got added in Pokemon Legends Arceus, and also the Hisui has a special evolution in Pokemon Legends Arceus. Also, what's to note, usually for the upcoming season there should be in February basically again another tour, this time around for the Sinnoh tour, but also the Hisui region is basically based on Sinnoh, so like more like Sinnoh is based on Hisui, because Hisui is like basically the region before that, like I don't know, like a few thousand years prior. So basically all this kind of information here right now kind of leaks towards the February community day most likely being the Hisui, which is kind of also tying up, I think, towards what we had last year. I think last year's January community day was actually the new generation, I think then 6 starter Pokemon there with the grass type starter, I forgot the name of it, Chespin, I think. So definitely interesting there. So I guess it's going to be February this time around, because for January we already got leaked towards a new community day, made a video about this as well. But those going to be definitely very interesting Pokemon here, and we're going to take a look now as well at potential stats for it. What I did here is kind of did some good moves basically for those ones. For Bleakwind Storm, Sandsear Storm, and Wildbolt Storm, I always gotta put the exact same stats in there. We have 90 damage and 45 energy, which would be basically a clone of Psystrike or Avalanche or Fusion Bolt, like something that you see all the time basically on legendary Pokemon as well. And you're going to see here that I added also a 30% chance for all of those Pokemon, or like all of those moves here, to drop the opponent's attack by 1 stage. This is the thing because I think Bleakwind Storm has like a 30% chance to lower the opponent's speed, which we have, for example, with Icy Wind, which already has like a guaranteed, like for that it's guaranteed to lower the opponent's speed, where we have a guaranteed attack debuff. We're going to have for Sandsear Storm, I think, a 20% chance to burn the opponent, which is also interesting. I think for Wildbolt Storm we have basically our same percentage there to paralyze the opponent. So I would imagine that they're going to try to translate this in an attack drop for 30% for all of the moves, which would make the most amount of sense in my opinion. But we don't know. We don't know if this is going to happen like this, but I would imagine that this most likely going to be the case. So moving on, if those moves going to help us out, like those other sets I used for today's video, I'm gonna make another video when this set's going to be actually in the game code, but here I feel like this is kind of accurate. Of course, Spirit Shackle is here a 65 damage but 40 energy move, so way worse than the other ones, but the other ones are moves, special moves from legendary Pokemon. I kind of want to have for Spirit Shackle something that is not insanely spammy, but lower than Frenzy Plant, because it's gonna get Frenzy Plant anyway eventually. And if it's going to be the same or more than Frenzy Plant, you would need also more damage than Frenzy Plant. And like honestly, I feel like having a Surf clone here, which is just 5 less energy than Frenzy Plant, would be a cool move for it. You could even argue, which you're gonna see later on as well, that you may even make it a little bit stronger than Surf, but we can move on for Tornadus. What I did here is I also looked at like potential moves for some of those. Here for Tornadus, I was, the normal moveset is basically Air/Grass Knot, I think Dark Pulse as well as Hurricane or something. So I just removed the Dark Pulse for Bleakwind Storm, as well as we're going to have here Gust at the end there, which it would learn. It's the best fast move that it could learn, as we're going to see here right now. Even with a strong move, there's not really a lot of change there. It's just still not really a good Pokemon, we have to say that. It's just going to need a completely new fast move. I don't even know what it could be. Something like, I don't know, something like Tailwind or something like this. I don't know, could be a way for this Pokemon to be better. But we need a better fast move for it. It only learns Gust, which is the best one. And as you can see here, it doesn't really change too much. So this Pokemon, no matter what we're gonna do here, is most likely going to be garbage. Also, the evolution kinda struggles with the same problem here. Basically, for those Tornadus, Theorint, and the Incarnate form, and like for all those kind of forms, you can just swap in between in those games. They have the exact same moveset. Usually, here in Pokemon Go, they have a little bit of a different one. For example, here, this Pokemon learns on its own already Gust, plus also Focus Blast, which makes this Pokemon like a little bit better here, as we can see. Not going to make it insanely strong either, but definitely gives it a little bit of an upgrade. But again, it's kind of a garbage Pokemon. They need a better fast move for it, but it does not really learn a better fast move, so it's a little bit icky. I don't really think that this Pokemon ever going to be good for the Master League, unless, of course, they would do Bleakwind Storm even like crazier than this, but I don't really think like that they would do this, especially if they kind of want to keep the balance between the other ones, because the other one's going to be a little bit more interesting. Let's take a look here at the Thundurus. Thundurus Incarnate form is getting like to 3700 as the CP here, and as you're going to see, it does not really change too much. It's going to make it a little bit better, but it's not going to make it crazy better. But you can definitely do a little bit more with this one, because the issue here kind of is that you kind of would have liked something different than Crunch. Crunch is okay for this kind of meta, but you kind of would like to have a little bit of better coverage on this Pokemon. And Wildbolt Storm here, of course, is going to be a part Electric type, which makes it not really as cool there, because you thought already this Pokemon has Thunder, and you kind of would like to have Double Step on this one. I would love to have Double Step on this one, but here you get completely walled by nearly all the Dragon type Pokemon, which is still going to be difficult, because you can hit them with like Neutral Crunch maybe, but like what it's going to be doing there. So it's not really the greatest Pokemon either. It's got a little bit of a buff, but again, it's not really the biggest change. But I'm kind of curious if not the Thundurus in the Theorint form going to be a little bit better here. This Pokemon would have access to Volt Switch, which is really cool. As well as you're going to have Focus Blast, which is really cool. And this would actually increase like the usability of this Pokemon by quite a bit. It's not going to be as great as it was before, because it was one of the best answers for Lugia before. Now, of course, Lugia is not really as common anymore. You're still going to get completely hardwalled by Giratina Origin, but I feel like that the Thundurus Theorint form might be kind of cool with the new move Wildbolt Storm, if it of course would be like this, which I would actually advise Niantic to do, because I feel like it's kind of balanced for sure. It's still a very strong move though, but like it's like those Pokemon all kind of not ever going to be too overpowered anyway. It might shift the meta a little bit, but yeah, like it would shift it maybe towards something like Mamoswine, which would be also kind of cool, because it's going to be a free one. So yeah, here we're going to see as well the differences. You're going to get a little bit of an increase, but of course, the only Pokemon that's currently really usable is going to be Landorus, and Landorus definitely gets a great increase here. Sandsear Storm is going to be very cool for this Pokemon, especially as you're going to get there fairly fast with a Mudshot, and as you're going to see, it is looking exactly the same. But if you actually take a look at the Pokemon on paper, we're going to see already a huge increase, even though we have here actually only 2 wins that we're going to gain. We gained an average of nearly 50, which is really good for this Pokemon, so it would make this way more usable, and so if you have a decent Landorus build like this, would be definitely good for you. Otherwise, this is going to be the more interesting one here for sure, which is going to be the Landorus Theorint form. And here we're going to have some different movesets, as you're going to see, where you can use basically Sandsear Storm plus Super Power. What I actually think would be better is going to be Sandsear Storm plus the Stone Edge on this Pokemon, because this would allow you to still hit Ho-Oh, which would be very interesting. Super Power was basically a best way of hitting Pokemon like the Dialga before. And now you have the Sandsear Storm, which gives you no drawback, which would be really cool. So I would imagine that this would be a very good Pokemon to use, and I think it's going to be a great upgrade for this Pokemon, while still not making it overpowered either. Like, it's still going to be definitely, there are going to be some Pokemon that you're still going to have some struggles against, so I feel like it would be a really cool addition to the meta, and I think it would be a very balanced one, so hopefully Niantic going to add it like this. Again, if they want to keep the theme and make all of the moves kind of the same, then yeah, you kind of have to stick with something like this. If you make it a little bit more stronger, you would have a little bit more of a brokenness for the Landorus. I just hope that they're gonna maybe fix a little bit of other stuff for the other two Pokemon as well, especially like a new fast move like Tailwind or something for the Tornadus? Yeah, Tornadus. Yeah, it's Tornadus, okay. Next one, let's take a look at the interesting one here as well, which is going to be the Decidueye. Decidueye, here I gave for the second one already Frenzy Plant and Spirit Shackle together, which Spirit Shackle again is a Surf clone but is a Ghost type. And as you're going to see here, it's going to increase some win rates for sure. You're going to lose against Superior because you're not running Brave Bird anymore, but again, you could also change it as well. But as you're going to see, you're going to gain some wins against Carbink as well as Registeel, which would be really nice. Cresselia you're going to be able to win against Jellicent, you're going to be able to win against, and again, as you're going to see here, this is going to be a great increase by 101 average rating, putting it nearly flat at 500, making it a usable Pokemon, but not making it an overpowered Pokemon, which mainly is going to be because of the fast move, which is going to be Leafage. What you could argue doing would be giving this Pokemon Leaf Blade as well, but if you're gonna go for the Frenzy Plant and Spirit Shackle way, you would be fine as well. But here, as you see as well, the Pokemon is only getting an average of 502, so you could even argue giving Spirit Shackle 5 more damage, 10 more damage, 5 less energy would be all possible for this Pokemon. 5 less energy would definitely be the biggest one there for it, because then you would be able to reach it after just 5 fast move with Leafage, which would be really cool. So I feel like this would be a very decent one, and let's take a look at the final one for today, which is going to be the Ultra League variant of the Decidueye. And as you can see here, this Pokemon could even get a little bit more of a buff there as well. Like, you're gonna get an average of 478 there, which is mainly also because Grass type is a little bit awkward for this meta right now. You have Steelix, which of course can neutral, but you have Registeel, which is actually, you're still going to lose here, interestingly enough, just because Registeel has so much bulk, even though they do only resist the damage against you. But like Grass type in general as a fast move is not really ideal here. There are a lot of Pokemon that can answer that. But I would imagine that even Spirit Shackle with like 70 damage would be kinda fine. Even like 75 damage would be kinda fine. Or with that amount of damage, with like 65 damage or like even 60 or 55 damage would be also fine. But then for 35 energy would be also cool. So definitely huge potential for the Decidueye to be better, huge potential for the Landorus to be better. Thundurus could be a kind of spice pick, and the Tornadus is most likely going to be still completely unusable. So let me know in the comment section what you think about it. Let me know what kind of stats you imagine those moves going to get, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.